Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going. As I like to point out, each and every day, it expands our base. The weekend has been filled with news, so much to cover, and so little time. Let's begin, if we can, with Donald Trump's latest statement that he does intend to put troops into Chicago. There is massive resistance by Chicago public officials, and I think by the citizens of Chicago, to the idea of troops entering their city. And now Donald Trump is talking about expanding troop presence and ICE presence in Boston. The question becomes, how far will this president go? And do you sincerely believe that it is a good idea to put National Guard troops, and yes, ICE, onto the streets of major American cities? This is a real question. And when you consider Judge Charles Breyer's comment that what the president is trying to do is to create a national police force, does it concern you? It certainly concerns me. I believe, as do many, that this is contrary to the essence of who we are as Americans. Local control, local police, not military forces from the federal government, not ICE, should be in the streets of our cities. That's what local government is all about. And I think this is something we need to think about and consider with great care. The courts are considering it. And in the end, I think it very important for the Supreme Court to rule as soon as possible on the question of presidential power. On the international front, we are seeing massive action in Ukraine, all of it negative. And the president's statement that he could solve the Ukrainian problem easily and quickly once he was president proved completely wrong. We are witnessing now in Ukraine a tragedy of the highest order, and we do not pay enough attention to what is happening there now. The fact that now a government building has been hit, the fact that there are increasing Russian raids on Ukraine by air concern me greatly and concern the Europeans. And as for President Trump's work in the Middle East, let's be clear. Another terrorist attack this morning in Jerusalem. Hamas doesn't take credit, but applauds the attack. And of course, the Israelis understand the full significance. And let me summarize it this way. If Israel were disarmed, can anybody doubt that what would follow would be the destruction of Israel and the death of every Jew? On the other hand, if the Palestinians were to disarm, there could be some arrangement made, because the Israelis are not talking about wiping out the Palestinians. This cry of genocide is a fake cry. Yes, people are dying tragically, but yes, it is not genocide. And I think that's very clear by any definition of the word genocide. And then, my friends, there is yet another question in terms of our foreign policy. In Japan, the prime minister has resigned, and indeed, the reason given is because of the tariff question. Donald Trump is facing serious questions about tariffs, and perhaps one of the most important decisions the Supreme Court will render, sooner, I hope, rather than later, is the question of the legality of tariffs imposed by Donald Trump. I proceed from the premise that the president cannot impose tariffs. Tariffs can only be imposed by Congress. And I think if the Supreme Court follows the law, the tariff question, well, it'll be moot. And then the question will be, how do you tabulate all the money that has been put in already on tariffs And what does it mean for the American economy? All of these questions are pending. And because we are approaching the month of October, very soon, we know that the Supreme Court of the United States will be on the spot. Amy Coney Barrett, who is now out promoting a book, has made clear that she is no one's justice. That is to say, that she is not controlled by anyone. But the proof will be in the pudding. The proof will be in how the vote goes on the Supreme Court, in terms of the expansion of presidential powers, the question of whether a president can impose tariffs. All of these issues are vital to American national security. And let me make a quick comment about Vice President J.D. Vance. We all know that J.D. Vance has been sidelined to a large degree, and yet everybody understands very clearly that if anything happens to Donald Trump, J.D. Vance will be President of the United States. Ignoring J.D. Vance or sidelining J.D. Vance, well, we do that at our own peril. He may be, in days ahead, the center of our discussion. It is also important to note that Mitch McConnell, the former Republican leader in the United States Senate, now in his last term as a senator from Kentucky, is now offering his observations about Donald Trump. And no surprise, they are not favorable. And yet, Congress seems impotent. We face yet another issue, which I raise now with you with some reluctance. I have not talked much about the Epstein case, but I want to point out that this weekend, Donald Trump again referred to it as a Democrat hoax. A Democrat hoax. And the response of the victims of Epstein and Maxwell, clear and precise. This is not a hoax. It really happened. And I think one of the things we have to look for in this coming week is what will happen in the House of Representatives when a vote will be called on the question of whether or not all the documents should be released. And of course, you need Republican votes. And the Republicans so far are being threatened by Donald Trump. They are being threatened, and they are responding with weakness. They seem to be bowing to the pressure of the President of the United States. Well, these are all questions we'll be dealing with this week. There's no doubt about it. And the issues continue to grow and compound. At the center of it all, Donald J. Trump. And my friends, what the Supreme Court does when they reconvene in October is going to be critical to the future of our country. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am John Rothman. Make sure to follow along and let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand, which of course is our goal. You can interact with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or emailing me directly. Many of you do, and I welcome your thoughts. It's a wonderful thing to have that kind of interaction. And to Gogo Zoger, the wonderful producer of this podcast, Gogo, thanks a million for everything you do. I am John Rothman. You are listening to Around the Political World with John Rothman, and I'll be back tomorrow, right here with you. See you.